Could you imagine a world devoid of color? It would be like eating food with no flavor. You could get by, but why would you want to? It's a dull, boring, meaningless existence fit for animals, but not for humans. Something more is required for humans. Humans require variety in their lives. That is why, my friend, we turn to art. My life was completely unbearable before I discovered art. I was an animal in human form, seeing in black and white and eating grass for no reason other than to preserve my meaningless existence. But there was still a desire for more. I, like most people, was missing something critical. Do you understand what I mean? Don't even try to answer that. But here's the real challenge: it's difficult to find something when you don't know what you're looking for. We all go through life looking for the missing piece to fill the void, but many of us never find it. That was the case for me. I tried to fill the void with money, sex, alcohol, and drugs, but all it did was make me hungry. I couldn't find genuine joy in anything. It was a fucked up state of mind for me, and I'd still be there if it hadn't been for art. I was fortunate, you see. I tripped over my missing piece while stumbling around in the dark, unlike most people. It had taken me completely by surprise, but once it happened, there could be no doubt about what I'd discovered. I'd found him, yes him, and with him, I'd discovered my calling. I'm sure you're beginning to think I'm crazy. Just pay attention, I'll do my best to explain. Even though it was over a decade ago, I recall that day vividly. It was back in college, and I'd been up late in the library, fucking around cramming for a test I didn't care about. I was returning to my spot with an armload of books when I noticed an old-looking newspaper on one of the tables. Curiosity is a bitch. I examined it and was astounded by the photo on the front page. I don't recall reading the headline. Perhaps I was too fucked up on pills or never did. I didn't have to. What I was looking at was a magnificent work of art, a beautiful masterpiece. It was fucking brilliant, mind. It's brilliant. The composition, the expression on his subject's face, and the precise placement of each masterful stroke, it all blended into a beautiful human symphony that played through my mind. There simply aren't enough words to do it justice. Even though it was incredible to see the piece through the black and white photograph, I knew it was only a shadow of the real thing. An important component was missing. The work would have been incomplete without it. I had to see it for myself. So I went in search of the mastermind who had created it. You understand, not in a literal sense. Long ago, cruel fate decreed that we would never be able to meet in person. I wouldn't be able to see his original work either. It had been destroyed long ago, along with its creator, by self-righteous men unable to understand it. But, aside from the exchange of information, what is a meeting of two people? We exchange our names, hobbies, likes and dislikes, experiences, and a wide variety of other trivial details that eventually add up to allow us to know each other. Couldn't the same information be obtained without a meeting? Couldn't I learn about who he was and what made him tick by having a conversation with his memory? And, once I knew who he was, wouldn't I be the best person to carry on his forgotten legacy? To that end, I devoured every scrap of information I could find about him with the same enthusiasm that starving men devour the smallest morsels of food, anything that would contribute to a clearer picture of who he was. Every bit of it was endlessly satisfying, and there was plenty of it to be found: newspapers, books, and documentaries. He'd left an indelible imprint on the world. I squeezed each source like an orange for every drop of juice it could produce, and eventually I realized I knew him better than I knew myself. I was prepared to carry on his work. The first obstacle was obtaining my tools. What is a painter without his or her brush? What is a potter without his wheel? You might be surprised to learn how costly art can be, especially when all of us artists are supposedly starving, as they say, but we manage. A true artist will go to any length to further their craft. I dropped out of college, got a job, and gradually built my workshop. My next challenge was to find appropriate subjects for my pieces. I was surprised to discover how difficult it was to find willing participants. Most people were strangely resistant to the idea of being a subject for my art, which I couldn't blame them for given my complete lack of fucking experience. After all, who wants to be remembered in bad art? But, as I previously stated, an artist will do anything for their craft, and I soon found myself running out of ideas. I gradually became a master in my own right as I practiced, and in the back of my mind, I knew he was there to guide me every step of the way. He seemed to be speaking to me and working through me. He had an impact on every decision and move I made. Put the subject in this position. Turn their heads in this manner. Wait until they find the appropriate expression. There you have it. He showed me where to draw my lines and how to let the colors burst out from within the unremarkable canvas. Such lovely colors. Whites and pinks, yellows and browns, blues and purples, all coming together in an indescribable bouquet of beauty. Red has always been my favorite of these colors. The color of ardor, the complexion of sacrifice, the tones of life. It gushed out with each line I drew, eager to show off its brilliance in the light. It radiated outward from the subject, encircling them in a ruby halo. I see you're getting restless. Hold on tight, I'm almost done. I'm only trying to help you understand. When I finish a piece of art and look at it, I feel what my master must have felt all those decades ago as he looked down at his own work. There is nothing quite like seeing a work of art that you have created with your own two hands. Isn't it Emerson who said, "To be great is to be misunderstood"? My master, like me, had been misunderstood in his time, but he never let that stop him from trying to help others understand. I'm not going to let it stop me either. I keep working because somewhere in the world, perhaps now or in 100 years, there may be someone who sees my art and sees what I see. Who can see what my mentor sees? Maybe it will give their lives meaning, as it did mine. That's all there is to it. Are you prepared? No. Be quiet. You're scared, but that's normal. It's just that you don't get it. You're going to bruise your skin if you keep struggling like that. Allow me a moment to sharpen my tools, and we'll get started. There will be some anxiety and pain, but it will all be worth it, I promise. I will grant you immortality.